Hey everyone, today we're going to be going over the do's and don'ts of sciatic nerve flossing. This is going to be your guide to make sure that you do this correctly and safely so that you don't increase your pain. Sciatic nerve flossing can be a great tool when applied correctly and a potentially irritating tool when applied incorrectly. When it's applied correctly, it feels like pretty much nothing. You should be doing this exercise feeling like, why am I doing this? And when you go and do your painful movement after it, it feels a lot better. And when it's done incorrectly, you feel a crazy stretch. You feel like your hamstrings being ripped out of your body. And when you get up, you're like, wait, this made me way worse. What was the point? We want to avoid that second scenario, and here's a few tips on how to do that. Ground rule number one is nerve flossing of any kind should never hurt. It should never hurt, it should never tingle, it should never make you numb. You shouldn't feel like you're ripping your hamstring out of your body. When we're talking about sciatic nerve, we're talking about this nerve that runs behind your leg through your glute musculature into your hamstring and then branches out below that. You shouldn't feel like those muscles are tearing or stretching at its max capacity. The point of a nerve floss is to move that nerve between those muscles that it lies between, rather than stretching the nerve itself. When we do that, we do end up stretching the musculature around it, but we shouldn't be necessarily stretching the nerve itself. Just like when you floss your teeth, you're not actually stretching that piece of floss, you're just moving it between your teeth. If you're stretching the piece of floss, it would break, or if it was a sensitive tissue, in the case of a nerve, it might get pissed off. So ground rule number one, nerve flossing should never hurt or tingle or become numb. Rule number two, if you are in a lot of pain, say it's your right hamstring sciatic area that's in a lot of pain, you may not want to start on that side. There's a method of nerve flossing that's protective, and it actually involves doing the nerve floss on the opposite side, and it actually pulls the nerve from one side to another, rather than pulling the nerve at the side that's irritated. If nerves are irritated, sometimes they can't tolerate that quite yet, so we can actually start on the other side as a means of introducing a little bit of movement without stressing it out way too much on that painful side. So how you would do that is looking like this. Let's say that your right hip is the one that's irritated, right hamstring area back here. We're going to start with our left leg. Go ahead and lie all the way down on your back, and let's keep this right foot flat on the ground. Reason we're doing this is we don't want to stretch that nerve out. Again, remember, we're doing the opposite side. So let's detension this right side, make it slack, and then you're going to take your left leg, again, the one that does not hurt, make a sling with your hands here, and all we're doing is kicking towards the ceiling, up and down. The last ground rule for these is I see people do these for like 100 reps a day. You don't need to do 100 reps. Usually I recommend 20 or 30, about this pace, no more. And if you feel like you're a little scared of doing this movement, just try 10 and retest that painful movement right after. For nerve flossing, you're going to know if this works for you pretty immediately. What I want you to do is test a painful movement, try about 20 of these, and then test that painful movement again. And if it's better, maybe this is the right exercise for you. And if it's worse, maybe we need to look somewhere else or apply a different type of treatment. There are ways to progress this. You will not be stuck moving your non-painful leg for the rest of your life, trying to explain to your buddies why you're stretching one leg, but the other leg is the one that hurts. These progressions get very specific very quickly, again, so we do not irritate that irritated nerve, but they do involve eventually adding some tension tolerance back into the side that is painful. You need to be able to do activities of daily living like bending down and touching your toes or leaning way back or being able to tie your shoes. And with that, you need a little bit of tolerance in that nerve to be able to stretch. But we don't start there. Again, we start protective and we move towards tensioning eventually when the nerve has calmed down and we feel that you have that tolerance ability. These progressions get pretty specific pretty quickly, so if you're interested in finding out more about that, go ahead and reach out to me. My contact information is in the description below. I'm in Southern California, but I do take virtual and in-person visits, so if you're curious about where to go from this nerve floss to the next step, go ahead and reach out to me.